You heard it in the song. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Off the Dome Sports Podcast, your favorite sports podcast where two sports lovers give their hot takes off the dome. Shout out to Ezzy for that song. Y'all have heard it before. You'll hear it again. That song is called Off the Dome. Very fitting for us here. EZZI on Spotify. Make sure to give him a listen. If you're listening right now, that means you're probably on New Rock Radio. Keep on listening to New Rock Radio 24/7 for the best and your favorite rock music. Also listening to newcountryradio.us. Great music on there. I'm a big country music fan myself. Over 600 songs on that playlist, so make sure to give it a listen. If you're not just listening, that means you're watching in on all the Radio House Studios platforms. We appreciate you for watching in. Radio House Studios on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We also have our own accounts for the podcast, so make sure to get us on Facebook and YouTube, Off the Dome Sports Podcast, or on Twitter at @off_the_dome pod. We want to thank Brignac Mortgage for sponsoring us. Sean Brignac, President and CEO over at Brignac Mortgage. He can lend you anything you need for residential investment and commercial properties. Check out Sean on YouTube at Sean Brignac and www.brignacmortgage.com. Thank you again to Sean Brignac Mortgage for supporting Off the Dome Sports Podcast and New Rock Radio. Just a couple housekeeping things coming up soon. Next week, actually, in Studio A, we'll have She Might Be a Beast on Wednesday. Really good original hard rock band out of New Orleans. You definitely want to check them a listen. They're always busy with gigs, so to have them in studio is a big deal for us. Friends of the show, can't wait to have them in. Make sure to give that a listen. That's going to be on Wednesday of next week, December the 7th. And then on Thursday, that's going to be our next episode, where we have Gage Gill in. If you've been watching for a while, you've heard us talk about Gage Gill. You've seen us talk to Gage one time. One of Byron's buddies, MMA fighter. Just
Yoked.
Yeah, big dude.
Little dude, but big
big dude. Really, really good at what he does. He's 3-0.
Yeah.
So obviously he's pretty good. He's won all of his fights in the first round. His last fight was just last weekend. So we're going to talk to him about that last fight, what the training looks like, how he trained for it, what his mindset was like going into the fight, and what he thinks about it after, and kind of what his future looks like. So that's just a couple things coming up soon. Make sure to tune in all night tonight. We got a special announcement coming at the end. You're definitely going to want to hear that. So stay tuned throughout. Without any further ado, let's get it right into it. This weekend was not kind to Louisiana sports fans.
Nope.
So it started off on Saturday when we had number 5 Louisiana State University, the Fighting Tigers of LSU, number 5 in the country. You know, they kind of held their own destiny as far as making it to the playoff goes, which was crazy to think that an 8-2 team or 9-2 team
9-2, yeah,
is going in to the last week of the regular season with a new head coach, a new quarterback, new receivers,
a whole new
running back. Like, it's just nothing was the same as last year, and we're going in with 2 games left, and we can make it to the playoff. But we ruined it.
Yeah.
We ruined it all on Saturday. We lost to Texas A&M.
Yeah. I mean, especially with Ohio State losing to Michigan, we had a real shot.
Yeah, Ohio State loses to Michigan. We were already at number 5, so that's a top 5 team dropping. And, you know, I don't know if we would have moved up to 4, USC jump us. Either way, it doesn't matter because we lost. Yeah. We ended up losing 38-23. If you would have told me before the game that we would let Texas A&M score 38 points, there's no way I would have believed you, because they haven't had a good offense and we've had a really good defense. Like, it just didn't make sense. And yet here we are sitting here talking about how Texas A&M just beat the Tigers 38-23, and there's not much we can do about it.
Yeah.
I mean, just to give you some numbers, you know, Jaden Daniels on the offensive side of the ball, the quarterback. I mean, you hear us talk about him all the time because he's the quarterback. He only had 189 yards through the air, added 84 on the ground, which 84 rushing yards from a quarterback doesn't sound bad, but he had no touchdowns. The only touchdowns we got were 3 touchdowns from John Emery. So outside of John Emery, we had basically no offense. I mean, we were held to, I want to say, like under 300 total yards in the game, but we just got dominated. Like, I don't know how else to say it. We got outplayed by a team that was ready to play. We were not ready, and they were. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, I think we came into this game looking too far ahead.
Mhm.
I think we were more worried about the Georgia matchup in the SEC championship than what we currently had at hand, and kind of overlooked them, and they got the upper hand on us.
Yeah, I mean, you hear a lot in sports. It's one game at a time, any given Sunday, any given Saturday, any given Friday, whatever the case may be. That's exactly what we saw when LSU traveled to College Station. Texas A&M has one of the best environments as well. So you know that those fans were rocking. You know the students were loving that their team was looking great. And LSU never led during the game.
Yeah,
like there was never a point where it was like, oh yeah, LSU's here. Like from first kickoff to the final snap, we just did not play, and it was really aggravating to watch for a team that, we all had really high hopes. Expectations going into the season, their over/under on wins was set at 5.5. Nobody expected them to be this good, but once you get that good and you show promise, everybody's like, okay, well then do it,
do better, yeah.
And they couldn't pull it together. My thing is we got dominated in the line of scrimmage. When you look at it, O-line versus D-line for our O-line and our D-line, they both got dominated at the line of scrimmage. For Texas A&M, it didn't necessarily translate to sacks. I think they got one sack all night, but on that sack there was a strip and fumble recovery, and they scored a touchdown. So the one sack that they did get translated to 6.
They made it count.
And, I'm saying, we got dominated at the line of scrimmage, but they only allowed one sack. How does that make sense? Well, it was in the run game, really.
Yeah, we just couldn't get it going.
Not only could we not get it going on the ground, but we allowed 274 rushing yards. Texas A&M was almost at 300 rushing yards on the ground for the game. You can't let 274 yards go on the ground and expect to win the game. You just can't do it.
Yeah.
Our defense was not on what they needed to be on for this game.
No.
And I will be hearing the name Devon Achane in my nightmares for months to come.
Yeah, he had an outstanding game, and I don't know if you recall, but when Texas A&M lost to Appalachian State, I think you had work, and I was giving you the recap of the game. I said the one good thing coming from A&M is that running back Achane. He looked great. He's the only reason they stayed in that game, and he's been playing good all season. He got hurt, and this was really his first fully healthy game back, and he made it count.
Yeah, no, he was awesome.
He rushed for 215 yards and 2 touchdowns on 38 attempts.
That's crazy. 38 attempts is a lot, but even with 38 attempts, you're like, oh, he probably had about 140, 150 yards. No. Dude had 215 and 2 touchdowns. And, he was just explosive. Even when he was getting 5 to 6 yard runs, they were tough, explosive 5 to 6 yard runs. I was so impressed with him. He looked awesome.
Yeah, and he got the ball out on first down, which gave them, the ability to run
short thirds.
Yeah, a lot of their playbook on second and third down.
Yeah, and they had a true freshman quarterback in there, Connor Wegman. I know LSU was one of the places he was looking at too as a prospect. 5-star quarterback coming out of high school last season. It came down to 3 teams, LSU and A&M being the top 2, and he picks A&M, and look what he does to LSU. I know he went 12 for 18 for 140 yards and 2 touchdowns or something. So he had a very efficient game as well.
Yeah.
Just our defense just did not come to play. It was really embarrassing, honestly. Moose Muhammad.
Another name that caught my eye in the game. They said his name, and I doubled it back at the TV, and I said, is his first name Moose? Come to find out, he is the son of Muhsin Muhammad, former NFL player.
Yeah.
Also wide receiver. Also torched
Louisiana
teams, yeah.
Shout out to the Carolina Panthers back in the day, Moose and Muhammad. But, Moose Muhammad had 5 catches for 94 yards and a touchdown. Just adding those 2 guys together, that's over 300 yards of offense between 2 players. 300 yards of offense and 3 touchdowns. The fact that 2 players did that to us is just, it's so embarrassing to have to talk about this LSU game.
Yeah.
Because this is not at all what we expected to be talking about. We expected to be talking about, okay, we just beat an SEC team. We're going into Atlanta to play Georgia in the SEC championship. If we win, we're in the playoffs. We're going to be the first 2-loss team ever to be in the playoffs, and we can't talk about any of that because we overlooked one opponent.
Yep.
And it's not like we overlooked A&M was 4-7 going into this game.
Yeah, and we had 2 games in a row. We had both talked about, not falling to the trap game because both of those said seemed to be trap games, and we almost did against Arkansas.
Yep,
Came
and then
through.
we overcame it.
And then UAB, we started off very slow. Kind of scared me a little bit, but we came through.
And that's what I expected out of this game, too. Like, going into halftime, I was like, honestly, we're a second-half team. We can come out there and we can do it. We've done it against other teams. We did it against Ole Miss. We did it against UAB. I mean, we're going to come out there and we're going to fire in the second half. And we did. We scored on our first possession in the second half. And then that strip sack touchdown by A&M on Jaden Daniels on our second offensive possession killed every bit of momentum we thought we had. They went up 7, and we never came close. You can't be a second-half team when you have no momentum in the second half.
Correct.
I really wish we could sit here and talk about how good the Tigers look, and they have a shot at the playoffs, but all that is a 0% chance now. Even if they win the SEC championship, they somehow beat Georgia, they're not going to make the playoff as a 3-loss team.
Yeah, I was looking at the like the percentages of the teams making it earlier, and said something like Georgia or LSU would have to beat Georgia like 55-10 or something like that, and
they would need TCU, USC,
all the other
Michigan
teams
to all lose. And then even then, it's not 100% fact because they would still put in Georgia, they'd put in us. TCU would maybe still make it in. Michigan would still maybe make it in as one-loss conference championship losers. So Ohio State still would have a shot. Alabama would honestly have a shot. Alabama still has a chance to get into the college football playoff.
It bothers me a lot.
It bothers me so much because we beat them.
We beat them and Tennessee beat them, and neither of those teams have a shot.
No, because when we beat them, we were like, okay, that's it. We just knocked Alabama out the playoff, and we control our own destiny. We just won the SEC West. Like, when we beat Alabama, that was our championship.
Yeah.
Because it turned so many things on the season. And now it just losing to A&M completely kills all of that. But that being said, we're still at 9-3. We still won the SEC West in Brian Kelly's first season at LSU.
In my book, if you beat Alabama in a season,
it's a success.
That's a winning season.
What? So
you could go.
I was about to say, what if we go like 1-11 and beat Bama? How do you feel about that kind of season? Honestly, I wouldn't be that mad about it. But no matter what happens against Georgia, we're going to talk about the Georgia game on Thursday. No matter what happens against Georgia, this season was a success. Even after losing this A&M game, this season was a success because everyone expected us to get 5 to 7 wins.
Yeah, no one thought we'd
make it to a mid-tier bowl game, finish 4th in our division.
Yeah,
here we are. We won the SEC West. We're making it to Atlanta. Doesn't matter what the record is. We still have a shot at winning the SEC title. Even if we don't make it into the playoff, we can still hold the title as SEC champions if we beat Georgia, which we will talk about. Give us a little rundown on what the rest of the college football landscape's looking like.
All right, so currently it's not set in stone yet. Usually they don't come out till a little bit later, but
Tuesdays. I think they come out tomorrow.
Tuesday. But currently they have Georgia at 1, then Michigan, then TCU. Those are the top 3.
Yeah.
All undefeated.
Yeah, they're all going to stay right where they are.
All of them will be playing for conference championship coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia's going to be playing LSU. Michigan will be playing Purdue in a game that could quite literally turn college football upside down.
If Purdue finds a way to beat Michigan, speechless.
Yeah. And TCU playing Kansas State. Which
that should be a really
good game.
I'm excited for that one. That's 2 teams that kind of came out of nowhere and performed really well this season. That's probably going to be a really, really good matchup.
I want to see TCU win it all.
I do. I want to see TCU make the playoffs and at least get an upset in the first round.
Yeah.
So that number 4 spot's going to be kind of questionable.
Yeah. So the teams that are in the running for the number 4 spot, Ohio State's the favorite, but currently they have USC in the number 4 spot.
Mm-hmm.
And Alabama also has a shot at that 4 spot.
Yeah,
depending on how the conference championship games go.
The breakdown on those 3 teams: Michigan just played Ohio State and whooped up on them. Really,
yes.
In the fourth quarter, they exploded, and just Ohio State stood no shot in that game. Even though it was in Ohio, Michigan came out and played really, really well on the ground and through the air and on defense. So Michigan beats Ohio State. That was a 2-3 matchup. So Ohio State's going to fall.
Yeah, they have them expected to fall to 5, USC to go up to 4.
USC was at 5, just beat a ranked Notre Dame team pretty handedly. You know, I don't remember the exact final score, but I remember USC pretty much. They were pretty much winning the entire time. It never really got too close. So USC's got probably a better shot of hitting into that 4 spot. Ohio State could move into 4 because they're like, hey, they lost, but they lost to number 2.
Yeah, that along with, USC has to go in and play Utah this weekend. Ohio State doesn't have a game to play.
Nope, they did not make it to the conference championship because of this loss to Michigan.
Which could be a good thing for them.
Yeah, because
if they don't have a chance, like basically
they don't have
their
an
destiny,
option to lose.
Yeah, their destiny is in USC's hands.
Absolutely. And we were talking about Bama. Bama has 2 losses, but their 2 losses are to 2 highly ranked teams, and they're not going to get a loss in the SEC championship. So their record is set right now because they can't make it to the SEC championship.
They're kind of in the same.
So they're in the same boat as Ohio State.
Yeah.
Whereas their fate kind of lies in the hands of other teams.
Yeah.
So there is a shot that a 2-loss non-conference championship play team makes it to the playoff, which is something that is completely unprecedented in the college football playoff era.
Yeah, it would take something like Georgia, basically all the number 4 teams that are playing for conference titles to lose.
You would need all 3 of those top teams to lose for Alabama to get in. Yeah, because even if USC loses, Ohio State probably gets the edge anyway.
Yeah.
So you would need all 3 of those top teams to lose.
And I think the key one here is TCU.
Yeah, TCU's the most on the edge because if TCU wins, they're obviously solidified as the number 3 seed. If TCU loses, they could go fall all the way down to like 6 or 7.
Yeah. Because of their schedule.
Strength of schedule. Yeah, they've played a couple ranked teams, but they haven't played anybody like Michigan.
Yeah. And they almost lost to Baylor.
Very close to losing on Baylor on a scramble drill kick. So that's kind of what college football looks like right now. Moving on to the pros, it wasn't much better for us this weekend. The Saints, but listen, the Saints made history. Not
in a good way.
The 2022 Saints team made history for the Saints franchise. They became the first Saints team of all time to both be shut out and shut out an opponent in the same season. Congratulations to the Saints on making history.
Thank you, Las Vegas Raiders. And thank you, San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, it was our first time being shut out since 2002 as well. So yeah, we lost. We got shut out. Lost 13-0 to the 49ers. So, I'm trying to find the positive out of both the LSU and Saints loss. With the LSU loss, it was, we're still a very successful season. With the Saints loss, we held the 49ers to 13 points.
Yeah, you can't really hold your head on this game. That's a really good team, offensively and defensively.
Yeah, the 49ers are one of the most well-rounded teams in the NFL.
And to be able to play that team that close, looking back at our season, I would not have guessed that it would have even been remotely this close.
Well, yeah, if you look at every game before this, I would have thought we would have lost this game by like 25. And if we would have lost, I would have thought it would have been because the 49ers scored a ton of points and we scored like middle of the pack, like 13 or so. So the fact that we held them to 13 point means a lot to me. But also, how do you not score points? Like, how do you go 4 quarters and not even kick a field goal?
Well, we tried. He missed.
Well, I mean, yeah, I know we tried. They always try. They just didn't succeed. How do you, like, a week after Andy Dalton has the best game of his Saint career. I mean, he played really, really well last week. He had 260 and a couple touchdowns, 21 for 25, only threw 4 incompletions. Yeah. A week after that, he comes into this game, he goes 18 for 29 for 200 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Like, I mean, he was basically irrelevant.
I mean, he didn't. I don't think he did bad. I'm not putting this game on him by any means.
No, I'm not saying it's his fault we lost because there's like 8 other reasons before him. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, how do you go from having the best game ever? I mean, to be fair, he did play 49ers defense. That is probably top 5 in the league. But they're better against the rush than they are against the pass.
Yes.
There was holes in that pass game. Jason Verrett just tore his Achilles, so he's out, and he was their number 2 corner. I mean, there was holes to be had in the passing game, and we just couldn't exploit them.
Yeah, I think the most of our problems came from our run game, though.
Kamara. I love the guy.
Yeah.
Like, when he's on, he's one of the best 10 running backs in the league, best 5 even. I saw a stat comparison before the game between him and Christian McCaffrey. He has more rushing yards and more receiving yards than Christian McCaffrey does in their careers. And most people are like, oh, wow, Christian McCaffrey best, blah, 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 blah. Kamara's stats are better. But this game, he looked like trash.
Yeah.
Literal a garbage can.
I think, if he had 2 fumbles.
2 fumbles.
I think if he reduces that number to 0, we win the game.
Well, you can't win the game scoring 0 points. But we may have been able to kick a couple field goals, maybe score 1 touchdown.
The one he fumbled on the goal line would have been a touchdown.
Yeah.
The other one he fumbled, we had a good drive
going. We were at
going.
like the 40-yard line. We were snapping. Yeah, I mean,
we
to
just
see
had a
that
good
from your
stop
best
on
player
defense,
hurts. Because all we've talked about on this podcast all season is get the ball in Kamara's hands. He's your best player. Get the ball in Kamara's hands. He's your best playmaker. And then they get the ball in his hands, and he does this. He had 7 carries for 19 yards.
Yeah.
He was averaging 1.9 yards per carry, and then he had 2 fumbles.
And then you want to know what made me really mad?
What grinds your gears? Tell me.
I'll tell you what grinds my gears. So in the goal line fumble, ball popped up in the air after Kamara got hit.
Mm-hmm.
What's the tight end's name?
Which one, Troutman or Johnson?
No, Johnson. Pops up right into his hands. He jumps up, and it falls right through his hands. In the end zone, ball's up. He jumps up, tries to catch it like this. It goes right in between his arms and then falls out the side.
That's the Saints right there.
And
Definition of the Saints.
And then 2 other linemen dive over the football, allowing the 49ers to recover.
I mean, I knew the 49ers defense was going to shut down our offense. Like, I knew we weren't going to score a ton of points, but I didn't expect this. I mean, it sucks. Fun stat for you. Saints are the worst team in turnover margin. By far in the entire NFL. We are at minus 14 on the turnover margin. That means we have turned the ball over 14 more times than we've caused one. And honestly, I would like to say, it's all on the defense. We need to cause more turnovers, or it's all on the offense because we need to stop turning the ball over so much. But it's on both.
It's a healthy mix of both.
Because the defense has only caused 7 turnovers through 12 games. Like, that's not enough. That's not like I think there's a guy who has like 5 picks this season.
Yeah, he's
by himself
on the 49ers.
Funny how that works.
He has four picks this season.
Yeah, so he's got more than half of our turnovers by himself, and we're just not doing anything. And of course, some of that comes back to injuries because we've had Pete Werner has been out. He can force fumbles.
Lattimore's a ghost. We don't know where he's at or what he's doing.
Yeah, we have no idea what's going on with Lattimore right now. So I mean, there's the only positives we can pull out of this game is the defense played really well for what they were given. And then Chris Olave still looked really good. He had 5 catches for 62 yards, and that's not even including that deep bomb. That was actually a catch, but they called back. He took 3 steps, really, hit the ground, and when he hit the ground, the ball popped up. But he was already down when the ball popped up, and they said he didn't complete the catch. But, I mean, everybody watching it can see that when you catch the ball, you turn around, you take 3 steps, you fall, you're down, and the ball comes up. That's not a fumble. And it is a catch. The ground cannot cause a fumble. That rule changed in 2018, and yet here we are talking about it because they ruled a 39-yard pass incomplete. And that would have switched our momentum too, because he would have been inside the 15-yard line, could have scored a touchdown, could have kicked a field goal. I mean, there's a lot of things going on here, but bottom line, if our run game would have been, if we could have gotten 120 yards on the ground with even one fumble, we should have won that game.
Yeah. But, especially that the only touchdown in the game that the 49ers had was one of the craziest things I've seen this season.
I mean,
Tyrann Mathieu been playing a little questionable, not been playing from what we've seen in past, not even close. And he actually made a very good play on the ball.
Crazy acrobatic play. Beautiful, like Odell-looking tip. And then it just falls right into the 49ers' hands.
As he's falling to the ground, he just turns his body and just lands on his chest, basically.
Bottom line, Saints should have won the game if our run game would have been halfway decent. I can't blame this on the defense. And, Andy Dalton didn't have a good game, but it's not his fault. I think basically two things come down to this game, and that's coaching and that's turnovers.
Yeah.
But we played a really good 49ers team. So, again, I guess we really can't complain that much. Thing with the Saints, though, still in the running for the division.
Crazy.
So, the Bucs lost and the Falcons lost.
But the
Panthers won. So, currently the Panthers and the Saints are tied at 4-8. The Panthers have the head-to-head.
Yep.
The Falcons are 5-7. The Bucs are 5-6. So the Bucs, because they've had their bye week, have an advantage.
Because they have it. Wait, yeah,
they've had their bye week, so they have an advantage because their win percentage is technically higher because they have one less loss.
Yes.
The Falcons are 5-7, but haven't, they won most of those games earlier in the season. The Panthers don't look good. The only reason they won is because they played the Broncos, who are the worst team in the NFL right now, besides the Saints, who are last in the division.
That'd be a good game.
No, that I would rather die than watch the Broncos versus the Saints.
I mean, like, not for, like, a playing standpoint. I mean, like, a
It would
close
probably
score.
be very close.
It would be a close
You're right.
score.
Because both teams would want to lose at this point. But yeah, I mean, the Saints at 4-8 still have a running in the division. If they can figure something out over the next, what do we have left? 5 games? We have 5 games left?
Yep, we have a bye week 14.
Week 14, yeah. So the week after next week.
Yep.
So if we can figure something out over these last 5 games and, hope that the Bucs and Falcons lose, which isn't
Yeah.
too bad because they both lost this week to
Tom Brady sucks and the Falcons suck.
Tom Brady stinks, and I mean the Falcons have Marcus Mariota, so we don't even have to talk about that. But yeah, I mean the fact that we're 4-8 and we can still win the division makes me kind of uneasy.
I mean, most of the NFC is like this too. Like outside of the NFC East,
The NFC East, their worst team is 7-5, and that's the Commanders who are on a heater right now.
They just won.
They've got 2 7-5 teams, an 8-3 team, and a 10-1 team.
Who handled the Packers last night.
Yeah. I mean, the NFC East and the NFC South could not be more polar opposite. It is what it is, though. We'll talk about the Saints again on Thursday. Looking forward to their next matchup. Hopefully they have some better luck than they did this weekend in San Francisco. But let's move on from the negatives and get into some stuff we really like to talk about. I know this is my favorite thing that we do every episode. It's talking about B&B's bets of the weekend. So our last episode was actually a week ago. It was last Monday.
Before Thanksgiving.
Before Thanksgiving. How was your Thanksgiving, by the way?
Soundman and my brother both tested positive for the flu, so I stayed at the apartment.
That's rough.
Yeah.
Soundman's doing better, though. That's what we like to hear. And speaking about Soundman, he had a parlay for that Monday Night Football game we talked about last week. And guess what? He hit it, like he always does.
He's been on a heater.
He's always good at betting.
Ever since it became legalized, he's been on a heater.
Yeah, and he loves to send it in the group chat and be like, look at me, I'm so good. And then I'm like, can you donate to the fund where Bryce loses all his money? And he's like, no. And I'm like, ah. But yeah, Soundman had 49ers minus 10 and over 43 for last Monday night's game. It was San Fran versus Arizona, and San Fran smoked them. That one hit easily for him.
Yes.
We also had some parlays. Neither of those hit.
We're close.
We're always like one leg off. Maybe we should listen to him and just do 2-leg parlays.
I just needed a CMC touchdown. I think you needed
Elijah Mitchell
touchdown.
That didn't happen. Which Elijah Mitchell got hurt again against the Saints. He's out another 6 to 8 weeks. So what we have found out is that there was 4 players involved in our trade. 2 of them are hurt. One of them is a healthy and active for his team, and the other one's TJ Hawkinson. So, how's that looking? Shout out Thug Nasty hating on my TJ Hawkinson trade. He's the best player in the trade right now. Just saying. He is. James Robinson's in healthy and actives. Zach Ertz is out for the season, and Elijah Mitchell's out for the season.
But I'm saying, like, if you look at what they did.
No, we're looking at right now.
No, we're looking at the trade as a
We're
whole.
looking at right now. Right now, TJ Hawkinson looks great.
You're right, because next week it could change.
Yeah. And then if you didn't see...
When I pay a man to break his Achilles.
Pay a man to break his Achilles. I don't think that's how that works.
Oh, it works.
All right. So if you didn't see, we posted all of our picks on Facebook.
You should
Actually,
ignore that.
What?
They shouldn't look at it.
No, you probably shouldn't look at it. For your sake.
Yeah.
Well, plus the 3 Thanksgiving games that I forgot about.
Oh, yeah.
So
If
there
I
was
wouldn't
15.
went against my gut, I would have went 3.
So there was 15 total games. The 3 on Thanksgiving and the 12 yesterday. Including all of those, I went 12 for 15.
Nice.
I hit all 3 Thanksgiving, and I hit 9 for 12 on yesterday games. We posted all these picks on Facebook, so again, make sure to follow us on Facebook. There's a lot of big stuff that you'll want to check out on there. So I went 9 for 12 yesterday, plus the 3 on Thanksgiving. I went 12 for 15 on this week's NFL games. I did really, really well. You did not have as much luck. Byron,
No.
I hate to tell you this,
What?
but including the 3 Thanksgiving games, you went 8 for 15.
Yeah.
That's barely over 50%. And you know what that means? You got smoked. You got absolutely smoked. Oh, what is that? What is that coming up right there? Oh, a little bit of haze. You got smoked, my boy.
Oh, I can't wait to do that to you.
You got 6. You went 6 for 12 yesterday. You only hit 50%, which is that's quite unfortunate. I hate that for you, but stuff happens.
I'm still getting smoked.
I don't know what to tell you, man. Don't be better. Be better. That smoke is still coming. But yeah, we made all of our picks on Facebook, so if you didn't see those, you could have checked those out. We did it because we didn't get to have a second episode last week because of Thanksgiving. But
It's a good thing there's no smoke detectors in here.
yeah, we'd be smoked out already. I tried turning it off, but it didn't work. So we'll see how it goes.
It stopped. Nope.
It's still going.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's gonna be real hazy in here by the time we get off. But sorry about you missing on your picks, man. You can't hit them all.
No.
Usually we're like within 1 to 2 of each other. This week I don't know what it was, but I picked 3 upsets and all 3 hit.
Exactly.
I was like that. What can I say?
Which ones did you?
Did I miss on? Which 3 did I miss on, or which 3 did I hit?
Did you?
So Raiders over Seahawks was
You took
one.
the Raiders.
I took the Raiders. Jets over Bears. You picked the Bears.
Yeah, and then I immediately.
Then you found out an hour later that Justin Fields was out, and you'd be dealing with Nathan Peterman and Trevor Siemian as the quarterbacks. And then the other one was.
Did you take the Browns?
No, I did not take the Browns.
I should have.
I don't remember the third one off the top of my head, but there was a third one we differed on. Because we picked almost all the same games, but the 3 I picked.
Did you pick the Jags over the Ravens?
I did not.
Smart man.
Of course I'm a smart man. What do I look like? But I don't remember the third game that I picked. But either way, I think I did pretty good. Only missed on 3 games.
You did pretty good.
You know what I didn't get? Smoked. But yeah, that's how we did our NFL picks. I just wanted to point it out because I don't get to win a lot of things on this podcast. You typically do better than me in a lot of stuff, so I got to take the advantage where I can. But getting into betting for tonight, we are having a Monday Night Football game tonight. The Steelers are taking on the Colts in Indianapolis. Soundman hit his last parlay, so of course we asked him, "Hey, Soundman, what's going on tonight? What's the parlay looking like for tonight?" And he gave us one. In typical Soundman fashion, he went with 2
legs.
2 legs. That's all he needs.
That's all you need to walk.
What did he go with?
He went with the Steelers money line and the over, which is at 39.5.
Wow.
Very low. Usually when he combines 2, it's like plus 180, plus 215. This week it's all the way up to plus 316 with the Steelers money line and
Good
the
for
over.
him. Good for him. I'm proud of him.
I'm still
I know. I'm trying to stop it as we speak, and it's just we're gonna have to figure this out for next time. But that's a pretty good parlay, except for the fact that I do not have the Steelers. I have the over as well, but I don't have the Steelers. I have the Colts personally. Well, we're gonna get into our breakdown of the Monday Night Football game in just a little bit. But I have Colts money line and the over, as well as the Jonathan Taylor touchdown, and that brings my odds at plus 390. I think those are all 3 very plausible. I like his over pick. I think this game could go either way with the Steelers and the Colts. but I have the Colts personally. That's just my preference. Why don't you give a little insight into what your parlay
can
may
you
be?
turn that window unit on, please?
Thank you, Sound Man. Sound Man's being a lovely man and trying to get some of this smoke out of here.
There's a lot in here.
It gets worse the more we look around. Oh, it's blowing back into our face. Hello. So why don't you tell the people your parlay you've got going on tonight?
All right. So hang on. Going for a ride.
Oh, I like the way you say that.
I took the Steelers spread, which is at plus 2.5. That's
So
right.
they can still
the
lose.
Colts are favored.
Yeah, as they should be.
I don't know about that.
They've won 2 in a row.
Steelers have been looking good.
They've went 1-1, but lost by 1 point to the Eagles.
That is true.
The Colts have looked fiery under Jeff Saturday.
That Steelers defense.
I'm calling him Jeff Monday tonight, by the way.
That Steelers defense with TJ Watt back
Oh, he looks good.
is serious.
He looks good.
So, Steelers spread plus 2.5. Jonathan Taylor, anytime touchdown. And then both quarterbacks, Pickett and Ryan, to both throw for 200 plus.
Okay.
For plus 694.
You know, I don't mind it. The 2 legs I'm questionable about both come back to the Steelers. I like the Colts to win, and at plus 2.5 with the Steelers spread, 1 and 2 points in an NFL game is kind of hard for a difference.
Yeah, it's basically just a pick 'em.
And then I don't know if Pickett can even throw 200 yards at this point. Like he hasn't been doing it, and the Colts have a really good pass defense. So I'm not sure, but it obviously could hit. We could see anything out of NFL games. I mean, last night was a complete shootout. The final score was like 44-33 or something.
Yeah.
Like it was
Actually,
huge.
Pickett's odds to throw for 200 were better than Matt Ryan's odds.
Really? I don't believe that for a second.
Pickett was like minus 226. Matt Ryan was like minus 194 to throw for 200.
I never would have guessed that. But yeah, we'll get into a full breakdown of tonight's game, but that's the parlays we put together. You know we love to do those. Those are our things.
Oh, yeah.
Moving on from betting, we're going to move into something we do every now and then. It's called the Fantasy 5, where we talk about fantasy football for 5 or more minutes. Probably going to be less tonight. But just because we want to get off the subject. So I know we've talked about it a couple times on this podcast, our league of record. That's the one we were just talking about, that trade in. Tell them how your team's looking right now, the Lettuce.
So the Lettuce had a great look for,
About 5 or 6 weeks. You looked great.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about recently, like bounce back, got back on the winning side of things. 2 weeks left, this week and the next week, and then it's playoffs.
Yep.
And I was playing a team who was managing to win games, but not by a lot. And he had some inactives. I was looking good going into this game. And then Sunday morning, I woke up around 11 o'clock and found out that 3 of my 4 running backs had been ruled out.
That's a painful one.
Joe Mixon, James Robinson, and Raheem Mostert all ruled out Sunday.
That's crazy.
Good thing I had Kenneth Walker.
Yeah.
But I ended up picking up Titans backup, Dontrell Hilliard. And he's probably the best I could have gone with.
Yeah.
Gave me like 5 points.
I mean, they had guys like Ty Johnson or Solomon Knight, who are the 2 Jets running backs who came in relief of Michael Carter because James Robinson was a healthy inactive. A guy who they traded a 5th-round pick for just a couple weeks ago is a healthy inactive because he has been so ineffective. The two Jets backup running backs combined put up like 34 points. It's a tough break for you.
Yeah.
It really is.
And then, so I was still looking good even after all that. I still had a good shot. I was up during the 3 o'clock games, probably about like 3/4 of the way through. I was still looking pretty good. I was up by like 30 points. And I knew that tonight he would have Deontay Johnson and the Colts kicker. And I had Deebo Samuel going in. He was going for the Saints game.
Mm-hmm.
Then all of a sudden I check back. and see that the Raiders had brought it back against the Seahawks. And halfway through the fourth quarter, mind you, Josh Jacobs only had 31 points.
That's still a lot.
Which is a lot, yeah. But not considering that he finished the game with 64 points.
Yeah, I mean, last play of the game is an 86-yard touchdown. That right there ruins everything for you.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, it's 14.6 points.
Now I know how you and Reese felt.
Yeah, now you know how the Rhythm and Blues feel. You're gonna fall to 5-7. We're. I mean, you're 5-6 right now. We're also 5-6. But we're hanging on by a thread, to be honest with you. It's super close this week.
Yeah.
We've got Najee Harris going up against us tonight. We're up 123.9 to 101. So 124 to 101. So Najee Harris needs to score less than 23 points, which is very possible. Yeah. He's been very inconsistent this year. He's had games where he's put up like 6, but he's also had games where he's put up like 24.
Yeah, and with a running back this season, it's pretty doable. Running backs have been scoring a lot of points.
Yeah, it's tough. With the way our day went yesterday, is all week Reese and I had been trying to figure out who do we want to start. Do we want to start Tua against Houston, or Justin Herbert against Arizona? Houston's had a very good defense against fantasy football quarterbacks. They were 3rd. But I was like, they're Houston. And Miami's very good.
Miami's back.
Miami's very good. Tua's very good. And in the first half, it looked like we made the right pick. Because Tua in the first half had 21 points. Because he had 240 yards and a touchdown. And I was like, okay, this is great. But they were up by 30. So what did they do? They pulled Tua. So Tua doesn't get any more points.
Yeah.
Not only that, but to couple with Tua, we had Miami's defense. Because we were like, if Miami's going to win, their defense is probably going to play well. Which in the first half, they did. They had 28 points at one point. With Miami's defense and Tua, we had almost 50 points combined. And then they pull out Tua, so he gets no more points. And they start letting Houston score. So we get Miami's defense down to 18. So we have lost 10 points, plus we're not going to get any more from our quarterback. Later on, we find out Justin Herbert scores 48 points on our bench. So if we started Justin Herbert, we would have without a doubt already won this week. Yeah. Now, they're still giving us a 58% chance to win tonight because Najee Harris has been so inconsistent. If he has a week like Zeke had, he'll beat us. But if he has a week like Dalvin Cook had, those are our 2 running backs. That's why I'm using those as reference. Then he won't, which Dalvin Cook still had like 42 yards on the ground, few receptions and some yards, which Najee Harris is usually good for. So as long as Najee puts under 23, we'll be sitting at 6-6, perfectly 500. Outside looking into the playoffs, not impossible, but not likely.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. It is still possible for us to make the playoffs. We need some dangerous things to happen for other teams.
And it's looking like, because I think it was a 4-way tie for 6th with teams that were 6 and 5, and then a 3-way tie for 9th. Mm-hmm. With me, you, and I think Dustin. We're all
Dustin
5
won
and
this
6.
week.
Yes.
Dustin already won. We are 50-50 basically at this point, and then you lost. So we'll at least, if we win, we'll at least move above you. And then I think they had 2 teams that were tied for 6th that fell as well.
Yes.
So depending on our head-to-head with those teams or points for whatever this tiebreaker is, we might move ahead of them as well. So I know we were like 10th going into this week. We might move up to like 7 or 8, which would put us right outside the playoffs, which is the top 6 teams. So it's very possible for us to make it in, but it's close.
Yeah.
I don't want to hedge my bets yet, but we're right on the cusp looking in, and I hope it works out for us. But unfortunately, we have had the second most points against in the league. I just want to put that out there, that we have the second most points scored against us in the entire league.
Yeah, actually,
every team decides to do well against us. Like, what are we like? Come on, man.
So to give them a little insight, each week, the team that scores the most points gets a little bonus cash. I think it's $25. At the end of the season, if you win like 4 weeks, you get $100 extra.
Yeah.
My team had not, I was putting up points consistently, but not like anything outrageous.
Yeah.
And then the week I play you and Reese, I think I put up 165 and one high score of the week.
Yeah, I think I don't know this for sure. Don't quote me on this, but I think 3 times this season we've had the highest point scorer against us. Like, we just can't catch a break. But you know who can? The yo-yo smugglers. Sound man. He's 8-3. I mean, he's gonna move to 9-3 unless Michael Pittman puts up 44 points tonight. So he's 8-3. He's moving to 9-3 against the only other 8-3 team. So he's basically gonna lock up that first seed, get a first round bye in the playoffs,
which is big.
Which is crazy because they didn't even draft his own team.
Shout out
Lionel Frankenstein. He's very happy with what happened. I talk to him every day.
Tell you what's been going really well for him. He has a stack.
Mm-hmm.
And if y'all don't know what a stack is, two
Same
players.
Team, quarterback and wide receiver.
Quarterback, receiver, or quarterback, tight end.
Tight end. Could be quarterback, running back, but that's not really a stack.
Yeah. He has Jalen Hurts.
And A.J. Brown. Which are one top 5 quarterback and a top 10 receiver. So, he's living life right now.
Yeah.
His running backs, and the crazy thing is he doesn't even have his starting running backs anymore, and his new running backs are better. Like Rachaad White put up 24 yesterday. Clyde went down. First 5 weeks of the season, Clyde looked like the MVP in fantasy, and then now he gets Rachaad White, who's going crazy with Leonard Fournette out. So, he's catching breaks left and right, and he didn't even draft his own team. Make it known that Soundman did not draft his own team.
Hired a ringer. Train hype, everybody do a shot.
Let's move on from the American. Oh, well, okay. Water. Let's move on from American football to
European
across
football.
the pond, as some would say. Give us a little breakdown of what's going on with the USA in the World Cup.
All right. So, USA is in a group with England, Wales, Iran, and ourselves.
I would hope.
First match tied Wales 1-1, which went about as people expected. They knew Wales had a pretty good defense, and they got most of their goals in the qualifying games off of counterattacks and turnovers. And then the next game, we played England, and everybody had the USA losing. It was just a matter of by how much. And we held them scoreless. We drew to England 0-0, which was huge. Everybody had counted us out, especially after tying Wales. And so now it's down to the wire.
Yeah.
We play Iran tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Winner. Well, not winner. If USA wins, we move on to the round of 16. If we draw or lose, Iran's in. But I like our odds.
Do you?
Yes. Well, we saw in the last match. I can't breathe all this. We saw in the last match, Iran beat Wales.
Mm-hmm.
And the match before that, they lost to England 6-2. And everybody was like, oh, but Iran put up 2 goals on England. That's more than the U.S. scored.
Mm-hmm. Which is true.
It's true, but their goals came late in the game.
Mm-hmm.
England had already pretty much won the game.
And they also allowed 6. We allowed 0. So,
Yeah. So the thing about Iran is they have a pretty shaky defense.
Okay.
Their attack is pretty quick. They pass the ball well in the midfield, but their defense lacks speed and strength.
Okay.
And size. And I think it pairs well for us because our offense is one of the fastest in the world. I can say that because it's the World Cup.
Yeah.
One of the fastest in the world. With Tim Weah running up and down the sideline, Christian Pulisic feeding him those balls into the box. I really like our chances tomorrow against Iran.
Okay, so we haven't scored a goal yet.
Yes, we did.
When?
Tim Weah scored.
I thought we lost 2-0 to Wales.
We tied Wales 1-1.
We tied Wales and tied England.
Yes.
Oh, I'm tripping. What am I thinking? 2-0.
Iran beat Wales 2-0.
That's what it was.
Okay.
So we have scored 1 goal within 2 matches. what do you expect us to do tomorrow? Like, are we going to score 1-0, or are we going to actually show our offense, or what's gonna happen here?
It's real tough to say because we came out with two different looks between the Wales and England game. Wales, we came out with a more attacking look. We pressured them a lot more because we knew that in order to beat them, we had to stay on the attack. And as far as England goes, we kind of went for more of controlling, like the possession time. Think of it like football.
Yeah.
Win the possession time, win the game.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like that. We came out with that kind of look where we wanted the ball in the midfield and in the back line and just waste time off the clock, which is how Wales normally plays. That they found success like that, relying off the counterattack. And that's what we were going for. We had a few good looks at goal, but in the end, England's got a pretty good keeper, really good defense, one of the best in the world defensively. And so that's why I think it's a great look that we tied them. I think it gives us a lot of hope, a lot of momentum moving forward.
So if we win this game, we're into the next round, right?
Yes. Win this game, we move on to the round of 16, and once, the group stages finish up, there will be no more ties. It's win and move on.
Going to, what, PKs?
Yes, it'll go into extra time, which is 2 15-minute halves. So instead of a 90-minute game, it'll be a 120-minute game. And then if it's still tied at the end of that, it'll go into penalty kicks, where each team, it's a best of 5, really.
Each get 5 shots on goal, and whoever makes the most gets in.
Pretty much, yeah.
Cool. I mean, that's why I let you go, because I don't really know anything about.
Some man said you can't say feeding him balls on the radio.
Come on, Sam, man, why are you being like that? But yeah, that's why I just let you go, because I don't really know much. The only game I've watched all of World Cup is Canada versus Germany.
Belgium.
Really good game.
Really good game.
I was having fun during that game.
Turned you into an Alphonso Davies fan.
I'm a big fan of that Canadian team. Just all of them.
Too bad they have no shot at making it anymore.
Nope, they can't.
Losing.
They lost, but I felt good about them. They looked good.
Yeah, they looked really good against Belgium, and Belgium's also
a very good team.
Not anymore. They're not.
What? I thought they were like top 5.
They were. They were actually ranked 4th going into the World Cup. They are now out of the top 10.
Wow.
They lost 2-0 to Morocco.
All right. Well, that's some soccer, as we call it, for you. I don't know anything about it. That's why I just let you go. I sound like a doofus when I try to talk about it because I don't know. But, I love America, so hopefully we can do something. Yeah. Shout out USA, I guess. Christian Pulisic, only name I know on the entire team.
A name you're going to know, Matt Turner. USA's goalkeeper. He's for real.
All right.
He's been playing at Arsenal, which is in the
I've heard of Arsenal.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's having a great cup so far.
So let's hope the boys in red, white, and blue can figure it out tomorrow, take down Iran, and move on to the round of 16.
Yes.
Coming back to our version of football real quick, breakdown of tonight's game. We've got the Colts versus the Steelers. Game starting in roughly 20 to 25 minutes. Probably going to be a close matchup if I had to guess. I wouldn't expect the score to be any more than like 4 or 5 in between them. I don't expect anybody to win by a touchdown just because these two teams are pretty evenly matched and have the same strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
Both very strong run games.
Very, very much a mirror match.
Strong run games, a talented receiver room with a below-average quarterback, and defenses are holding them. Defenses are doing the best that they can. So, I'm expecting a close matchup tonight. I know I had the Colts winning. Do you have the Steelers? I know you have the Steelers spread. Do you have the Steelers winning?
I have them winning.
Do you have any prediction on the brain of what the score may be, and maybe who you think will be the MVP for tonight?
I'm going to go 27-24 Steelers.
Okay.
MVP being Freiermuth.
I love me some Pat Fry. Big Pat Fry guy.
2 touchdowns for him.
Oh, I could see it. It sounds about
Red
right.
Zone.
I'm gonna go 23-20 Colts. Take the Colts to win 23-20.
So both of our predictions have
finishing
the over.
both. Yeah, I mean, I have the over in my parlay, so I have to say it.
Yeah.
And I think tonight's MVP is going to be Jonathan Taylor. I think
he's going to bounce back?
I mean, he had a pretty decent week last week. He looked bad. He hasn't looked great this season. I think he's going to bounce back. I think they're going to just feed him over and over and over and over and over again. So he's going to have a good week. I expect him to put at least one touchdown on the board, if not two. So I'm looking for the Colts to win tonight. You're looking for the Steelers. We'll see how it goes. That'll be the difference between you being 8-15, and then either 8-16 or 9-16, and then I could continue my streak of only having 3 misses on the week.
13-16 or 12-16.
Yeah, I mean we'll see how it goes. But one last thing before we close out here, the special announcement we've been talking about. We have merch. We are selling T-shirts, ladies and gents. It's something we've been wanting to do for a little bit here. We're going to go ahead and do it, though. If you go on our Facebook, any of our social medias, we have our own. You got something you want to do?
Can you say that again?
We have merch. You're so dumb. But yeah, we're going to be selling T-shirts. If you go on our Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, any of our accounts, you will see our logo. It is a gold logo. It says Off the Dome on it. It's a little picture of a Superdome with us, sitting on it. That's the logo that's going to be on the T-shirt. It's going to be a gold T-shirt with that logo right on the front in the middle. I'm going to post about it tomorrow on the Off the Dome account. So again, make sure you're following us on Facebook. Like the page, follow us so you can stay up to date with everything. Make sure to give us a follow on Twitter too, _Dome Pod. You'll catch us on there. There's going to be an order form, or at least giving you some info about it and just the way you're going to order it. You can either write in the comments there, let us know how many you want, what sizes, or you can email us at offthedomesportspod@gmail.com. Once again, offthedomesportspod@gmail.com. Send an email to that, letting us know, the size and how many you want, or even an address that we could bring them to, drop them off, or ship them to, whatever. We're gonna figure out all the details a little bit later, I promise. But we just want to know by Friday how many we want to order. So make sure to get your orders in by Friday. Again, I'm going to post that on Facebook tomorrow, so you can look out on Facebook for an order form, or at least telling you all the details about it, so you can go ahead and order some shirts. Like I said, gold T-shirt, Off the Dome right on the front. We're really, really excited about it. Tell them a little fun thing we're doing with the T-shirts, though.
So we're going to be doing a giveaway.
Yes, indeed.
One free T-shirt.
One free T-shirt to a listener.
Thursday night when we do our podcast.
We'll be starting at 6.
Starting at 6 after we do our intro.
Around 6:04.
After we go through all of our, the normal intro things. One of us will ask a question
to the chat. So make sure you're in the chat. Make sure you're watching live. If you're not watching live, chances are you won't be able to do it. So you got to be listening in on New Rock Radio. You got to be watching in on Radio House Studios to be able to answer the question.
Turn your alerts on. Do whatever you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because I will ask. One of us will ask a question, and the first person to respond in the chat with the correct answer will win a T-shirt.
Yeah, and what we mean by chat is if you have it open on a Radio House Studios platform, you can comment whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Just leave a comment on the live video, and you will be able to answer the question. We don't know exactly what the question is going to be, but what we want to do is we want to make it for somebody who's been listening to us for a little bit. So if you're a loyal listener, we want to give you an advantage. It's going to be maybe something we've said in a past episode, maybe a theme we've kept going through our episodes, maybe something about a special guest we've had. We don't know exactly yet, but make sure you're here at 6 o'clock sharp. That way you can answer that question, be the first one, and get a free T-shirt. We'll let you know live on here once we see the comment, once we see who wins. We'll let you know, hey, you won. Go ahead and drop your size in a comment, too. We'll make sure to save you one. But that'll be one free T-shirt. The only people who are ineligible are our parents or immediate family. So sorry, Sound Man. Sorry, Peyton. You're not eligible. And neither is Georgia Raylin, Gerald, as we like to call him. So y'all aren't ineligible. You got to pay up. But everybody else, if you're in the chat, you are eligible to win a free T-shirt if you can win the answer to that question. So make sure to stay tuned on Thursday for that.
Stay tuned. Spread the word.
Absolutely.
Maybe if you can manipulate someone into watching our stream and they answer it right instead of you,
Yeah.
you can maybe be like, hey,
What was
I
that?
got you here. Give me that T-shirt.
Give me that T-shirt. Yeah, everybody loves a free T-shirt.
Yeah.
Nobody complains about a free T-shirt. And
Your dad said not fair.
sorry, you can buy one. You'll be all right. But yeah, we don't know the exact price yet. So that will also be relayed. I promise. So just let us know how many you want, what sizes. You can send that email to offthedomesportspod@gmail.com or go ahead and give a comment on the Facebook post tomorrow. If you want a hint as to what the question may be or what some answers may be, go ahead, listen back to our old episodes. I promise you an answer will be found in one of our old episodes. We're not going to ask a question that we've never talked about the answer to. It'll be somewhere within the past episode. You can go on Facebook or YouTube, Radio House Studios platforms, watch all of our old episodes, listen in, and the answer will be somewhere within there. I know I'm giving you some homework, but it's not hard. Just go ahead, listen in, tell your friends, tell your family. A free T-shirt is up for grabs.
Yeah.
With that being said, that's going to wrap up the Off the Dome Sports Podcast for tonight. Once again, we want to remind you that on Thursday we are going to have Gage Gill in here. Not only are we doing a giveaway, but we're having Gage Gill in. So Thursday is going to be a big day for us. It's going to be a great day for us. I can't wait until Thursday. Make sure to check out Gage. He's going to come in here, let us know how his last fight went, what he's looking for towards the future. It's going to be a fun interview. We had him on. Last time we had him on, we had a great time. Should be the same. And then don't forget, again, December 7th, that's next Wednesday, She Might Be a Beast, original hard rock band out of New Orleans, is going to be in studio, live in Studio A. You definitely want to check that out. Stay tuned on Radio House Studios and newrockradio.us, all the social media platforms. That'll keep you up to date with that. Again, hard rock band out of New Orleans, She Might Be a Beast, next Wednesday, December 7th.
She might.
She might be. Yeah. So make sure to check us out as well. Off the Dome Sports Podcast, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, _Dome Pod, to stay tuned in for all of that merch. We appreciate everybody for listening. We had a great time tonight. I hope you did too. Make sure to tune in on Thursday at 6 o'clock, where we'll cover the future of LSU and the Saints, Thursday Night Football, and be giving away that free T-shirt. So make sure to be in here 6 o'clock sharp Thursday. We'll see you then.
Took a break, but better hold